Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Third time's a charm. I'd like to be mindful of our time and our agenda this evening. The time is 5:31 p.m., so I'd like to call our work session to order. Mr. Humphrey, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Davis,
Present.
Ms. Green, Mr. Jones, Mr. Lawson,
Here.
Ms. Rawls,
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Present.
Ms. Hill.
Present. Thank you. We will begin with the work of the Administration Committee. This evening, the Administration Committee has 3 resolutions for discussion. The first, Resolution 25 of 2026, and Resolution 26 of 2026. I would like Mr. Humphrey, if you could please read both into the record. That way we can discuss them at the same time.
Resolution 25 of 2026, a resolution appointing Ms. Rhonda E. Mays to serve on the Redevelopment Authority Board of the City of Harrisburg. And Resolution 26 of 2026, a resolution appointing Ms. Salima H. Chapman to serve on the Redevelopment Authority Board of the City of Harrisburg.
Thank you. Ms. Mays and Ms. Chapman, if you wouldn't mind joining us. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just a reminder, you can move the microphones, and we ask that you move them close to you so that those online and on Channel 20 are able to hear you. So good evening. Thank you for your interest in serving on the Redevelopment Authority Board of the City of Harrisburg. I'll just note and remind everyone what it is. It's been a while since we've had some interest in service. So, resolution number 57 of 1948 through 1949 passed by the Harrisburg City Council on September 6, 1949. It established the Redevelopment Authority in conformance with the Urban Redevelopment Law of 1945. The Redevelopment Authority Board shall be comprised of 5 voting members to be appointed by council pursuant to Section 1705 of the Urban Redevelopment Law. The term of each appointee is 5 years and shall be staggered with appointees serving until their successor is appointed. The majority of the appointees must reside in the city of Harrisburg and must retain residence within the city for the duration of the term, with the remainder of the appointees owning and operating businesses within the city. So I'd like Ms. Mays, if you wouldn't mind, taking a few minutes to introduce yourself.
Good evening. As you know, I'm Rhonda Mays. I am a lifelong resident of Harrisburg. And except for the time that I went out of town to be educated and then to work as a federal employee, except for that time, I've been a resident of Harrisburg City. During that time, as a resident of the city, I have worked in state government as a budget analyst within the Department of Welfare. And part of my role there was to work with all of the administrative side of all of the county the offices that are providing services and supports, financial support to some of the most vulnerable residents of the state. For about 6 years now, I've been the executive director of the Fair Housing Council of the Capital Region. And of course, there our focus is on community development, housing stabilization in particular, and also, ensuring that all persons have access to affordable, stable, dignified, affordable housing. So my interest has always been in service to the community, you know, except for a small portion of time when I worked as a small contractor within the area of nonprofit grants management. My service and my experience has always been in the nonprofit area or the not-for-profit area. So that's just a brief overview of my interests and my background.
Thank you very much. I would like to note that Ms. Mays is duly qualified to serve on the board as she is a resident of the city and otherwise meets the requirements of Section 1705 of the Urban Development Law. Ms. Chapman, thank you for joining us. If you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes to introduce yourself as well, we would appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for having me. My name is Salima Chapman. I have a background in community service and community advocacy for home ownership. I have been a resident of Harrisburg for over 30 years now. My family's from here, and I've been here ever since that. But with home ownership, the background that I have in that, being a transaction coordinator, real estate agent, mortgage loan originator, HUD certified counselor, all of that gave me insight on the process of community redevelopment, home ownership, the impact it has on residents, how to do it the right way, how to do it where you leave the residents out, which is not the right way. So I feel like I have a balanced insight with my experience. I come with a balance with the experience that I have.
Excellent, thank you. I would also like to note for the meeting record that Ms. Chapman is also duly qualified to serve on the board as she is a resident of the city and otherwise meets the requirements of Section 1705 of the Urban Redevelopment Law. I just have one more question for both of you. What impact do you believe that you will be able to make as a member of the Redevelopment Authority Board?
My hope is that we always do our jobs as assigned with the community in mind. We have a opportunity now to be part of the redevelopment, so to speak, of this community. We've done, some work with certain sections of the community over the years. I know when I lived in DC, I would come back home over the bridge and I would say, wow, look at that, the skyline is changing. Mainly downtown, but I saw a lot of our neighborhoods were not progressing as I thought that maybe they should. So I think now that we have an opportunity, particularly with the HRA, that does work primarily in the area of land acquisition, bundling this land, making sure that it is being utilized to the highest level possible for those who want to create a business here and who want to also purchase a home here or even a rental property here. We want to make our community attractive for everyone. We want to have a community that is engaging and placemaking for everyone, no matter, what your income level or your socioeconomic status. And at the Fair Housing Council, that has always been my goal, is to make sure that everyone knows that they are wanted and needed here. And so at the HRA, of course, they have a great amount of power. You know, when you're talking about acquiring land, bundling land, negotiating with developers, you know, acquiring bonds and making loans, that takes a lot of work. And the HRA has been around for, as you noted, Mrs. Hill, you know, for a very, very long time, and is you know, our resource as a community, as the city of Harrisburg. We want that authority to work well, and work on our behalf. So it's important that whoever is on that board knows how serious the job is, how important it is for the continued development of our community, and that we need to support the executive director, because the executive director does not have an easy job. No one that works for the authority has an easy job. I'm sure it's a very complicated job. So that's pretty much, I don't know if I answered your question, but that's just some of the thoughts that I have about serving on the authority.
No, you did. Thank you. I would also like to note that the portrait of a former council member, the first Black woman to serve as a Harrisburg City Council member, Miss Judith C. Hill, is Miss May's aunt. So it's a full circle moment.
My aunt and my godmother, my inspiration.
Yes. So I wanted to note that for the meeting record. Ms. Chapman, the same question for you. What impact do you believe that you will be able to make in service on the Redevelopment Authority Board?
The impact that I think I would be able to make while serving on the redevelopment board is making sure, similar to what you said, just making sure that the focus stays on the residents as the city grows, making sure the current residents benefit from the growth and are given opportunities like employment, housing, just so they're not left out. Even though we're looking to get more residents, we're looking to bring in more businesses, we have to sustain what we have and make sure they're benefiting from it. So that would be my goal coming to the board.
Thank you. Just want to review your terms. Ms. Mays, your term shall expire on September 30th of 2030, and Ms. Chapman, your term shall expire on September 30th, 2028. So I don't have any other questions. I'm going to open up the floor to my colleagues who may have some additional questions for you. I'd like to begin with our Community and Economic Development Committee Chairman, Councilman Lawson. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, President Hill. Yes, I do. And first, I want to thank you both for your willingness to serve. Affordable housing is something that is close to the heart of pretty much everyone sitting up here. And working with the Redevelopment Authority and figuring ways to help us get homes out there for people to live in a rate that's affordable is very, very important. Our city has a large percentage of residents who are renters and not owners. I guess I asked this question for both of you. I guess, do you see the importance, or do you know the probably even a path to help people take that first step from renting a home to becoming homeowners? And you can.
Would you like to answer first?
Yes, I'll go. So to answer your question, the path to get residents from renting to owning homes is opportunity. In the past, most of the mortgage loan companies, there was a couple of hindrances that they had just as a whole, but definitely as individuals start to pay their bills and they get swallowed up with life, it can become overwhelming financially. So making sure that as a city, you're looking into different opportunities where maybe you get a mortgage lender that does not look at the credit score. For example, there's a couple of organizations, and I know the city's working on some things in that realm as well, so that is important, putting more attention to that, making sure that they can get the lending to get the house. Also, starting young, giving education on the importance of home ownership, understanding the rent that you're paying, you could be paying that on a mortgage. So by the time someone gets 50, they didn't rent all their life and they don't have anything to show for it. So just making sure we get the youth in the city young and get them understanding homeownership is an option, A, and then B, it's obtainable for them. And just investing in more programs that helps with that.
Thank you. And Ms. Mays?
I agree. What stands out to me is education. My mantra is always that knowledge is power. What we have a lot of times with individuals and households, particularly in the low to moderate income community, is that they don't see themselves as having a path towards homeownership. So at the Fair Housing Council, which I was pleased to be on the board first from 2008 until 2020, and now as an employee from 2020 to now, I've been able to see more and more and more how much that education that we've been doing since 1990. I think we were the first in the area to provide that first-time home buyer education. So far, we have educated 15,000 residents, and in Dauphin County alone, we have qualified through our educational efforts about $1 million worth of loans per year in Dauphin County alone. So the education is key. And not only that, the other part about the education is we don't just want folks to become homeowners, we want them to be successful homeowners. And I think through the efforts, and we don't just provide education and say, okay, good luck. If you're not qualified at a particular time after you finish, we also have pre-purchase counseling that is one-to-one, and financial management. So if your credit score is rather weak, we will work with you until you build that credit score up, because this is my belief, and this is my predecessor's belief, who was my mentor, Mel Johnson. There is no shortcut to home ownership, to getting a home of your dreams in a neighborhood of your choice that you are going to maintain for as long as you and your family want. There's no shortcut to that. So I'm very happy to know that I did an analysis of those who finished our class and went on to become homeowners. You know, how many of them from 2008 until 2023, and that includes, you know, some like the 2018 mortgage crisis and, you know, collapse, and not one lost their home. They're all still there. So that shows you how much knowledge is a leg up. It's critical. There's no substitute for it. So when we're talking about home ownership, that's the education part is really where I place a lot of focus. We just came out of National Fair Housing Month. This month, we're still in it. April is Fair Housing Month. So we had a special workshop, home buyer education workshop, and I'd like to thank Senator Patty Kim, Senator Representative, and I invited some of, you know, the council, but most of you, I know it's a Saturday, you had other things to do, you couldn't make it. That's great. Stop by at the council at any time and meet with us and talk to staff and see what we're doing down there. But Yeah, Fair Housing Month is this month, and we are also, I don't want to do commercials or anything, but we're also going to have, in collaboration with Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission, a fair housing seminar based on disability rights, folks that need accessibility. It's on accessibility, I don't know. But I'm kind of wandering. But yeah, those are kind of my focus areas. The main thing is making sure that people are knowledgeable, making sure that no matter, they have a great program for folks that are in Section 8 to pay their mortgage. So income is not a barrier. The only barrier is your knowledge, that your lack of knowledge about how to become a homeowner, if that is your goal.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your answers. I'm impressed by you both, and thrilled to see your willingness to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Green, do you have any questions?
Thank you very much. First, sorry for my tardiness. I was running a little behind. So if I missed this answer, please excuse me. Do you have any conflicts of interest that you might see with this position? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. So I don't have any conflicts of interest, but if anything comes up, I don't mind setting aside, but there's nothing that comes to mind.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I looked at the board members that are serving currently, and I'm not related to anyone, and nor anyone that I know of that is employed with the HRA.
Okay, so you don't see any conflicts potentially coming up?
No.
All right. Thank you. Thank you both for your willingness to serve. Ms. Mays, I've worked with you when I've had residents that have had issues. I've brought them down to you, and I appreciate your passion and the work that you do. I don't know you very well, but I've heard about you, and I hear good things. So I just thank both of you for being willing to serve the city of Harrisburg in this capacity, and I look forward to working with you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rawls, any questions?
Thank you, President Hill. I don't have any questions, just wanted to say most of my questions have been asked and answered. You all gave very insightful answers to the questions, very knowledgeable about housing and the needs. And I just think you both, I don't know you both extremely well, but we've had a few conversations. I see the work you do in the community, and it is, you can tell that you have a vision and a sight for what Harrisburg could be. And I think that's step one with being on the Harrisburg redevelopment board, because that's what we need. We need some type of vision of where Harrisburg can go and how to use our housing in a different way. We have so many beautiful homes that are currently condemned, and I think that you both would see that in a different way, because from hearing your answers, my thoughts were just going, I really enjoy both of you speaking about, especially Ms. Mays, when you were speaking about acquisition of property and bundling and developers, and you, Ms. Chapman, about housing. And I think with both of those thoughts and visions, then we see our landscape in a different way. I know for myself, what I would love to see is the properties that are within our land bank that you will also see, even though there are two different entities. I do know that, but we do acquire that land, and that is the land that we speak of, seeing it differently than just bundling for developers. But how do residents get a hand on that? Right? How do they use it to build homes on the land that's there? How do they use it to acquire those condemned homes and repurpose them and revive them? And I know that is something that we need in the city, and I know we need not just affordable housing, but market value housing. So I think that you both see that and you understand that, and I just want to thank you for stepping up to bring your thoughts and your vision to this board, because I know you're going to do a lot of good. So thank you. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councilman Rodriguez?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you both for joining us this evening. My questions were asked geared towards education and what you may feel like you can bring to the board, but I definitely feel like the redevelopment authority would be, blessed to have you both. So I definitely see the purpose, see the passion, and definitely the qualifications are there. So I have nothing further, but thank you both.
Thank you. Councilwoman Davis, any questions?
Thank you, President Hill. Thank you both for being here this evening. I don't have any questions because I believe you're both qualified, duly qualified, as President Hill mentioned. Yes, one question. Were you aware of the 5-year term prior to coming here? Both, either one? I was aware of the 5-year term. Were you?
I don't plan on going anywhere, so
Okay.
that's fine.
People aren't aware of the term, and if you both are okay and accept that, because 5 years is a long time. I want to thank you, Ms. Mays, and also your relative. You've was it your aunt or your?
Oh, Judith Hill.
Yeah. I actually went through that first-time home buyers program under Mel Johnson at the time, back in 2000. So to your sentiments, yes, I still have that house here. It's my first house in this area. And I want to also just thank you for the service that you perform here in the city. Ms. Mays and I have walked these streets going to different senior facilities to meet with residents personally and to make sure that their living quarters were up to standards or to address any of the residents' concerns. And we have gone to maybe 2 or 3 sites together. So I know her, that she's very knowledgeable, her passion for the people, the residents of the city of Harrisburg, and that they are treated fairly. Land acquisition is something that I would like to see become more available, I guess, as my colleague mentioned, for the residents. I like to see the information out there so everyone can see what's going on with the land. And then in terms of the ADA, that's what you were trying to get to, the ADA education for landlords. That's coming up on April 28th with the Fair Housing Council.
Yes.
So thank you for offering that as well. I will be attending that, but thank you for all that you do, Ms. Mays. And Ms. Chapman, thank you. And that's,
It's an alarm.
That was a lot.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
thank you both for being willing to serve, though.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Vice President Jones, any questions?
No questions. I just thank both of you for your willingness to serve. I'm very aware of both of your extensive background. Not only are you qualified, but the passion you both have in this regard. I also want to thank you again for your willingness to serve, and I have no questions for you.
Okay, thank you. If there are no further questions, I move to add Resolution 25 of 2026 and Resolution 26 of 2026 to our next legislative session agenda for a formal vote. Thank you both for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Next, we have Resolution 34 of 2026. Mr. Humphrey, could you please read it into the record?
Resolution 34 of 2026, a resolution ratifying an adoption agreement amendment for the non-uniformed municipal employees retirement system with the Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System to extend the superannuation retirement known as the Rule of 80 effective January 1st, 2026.
Thank you. Who from the administration is present to discuss Resolution 34 of 2026?
Good evening, Council. Antonio Megna, Business Administrator. So to take you into the resolution here, it's pretty simple. Since 2017, we've been offering the Rule of 80, the annuation retirement eligibility to everyone that's involved in the PMRS or the AFSCME contracts pension plan. Effectively, that means that if someone becomes eligible for early retirement, if their age and their years of service add up to 80 or greater, they can be eligible for early retirement without any penalties. So this is effectively extending that through 2028 as part of the contract for non-uniform employees.
Okay. Thank you. I was just reading it to myself, I guess, but I'll read it out loud just for everyone's reference. The City of Harrisburg has established its non-uniformed municipal employees retirement system by Ordinance Number 20 of 2013, which was most recently updated by Ordinance Number 5 of 2017, codified in Chapter 2-709 of the Codified Ordinances of Harrisburg. The Local 521 American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Council 13, or AFSCME, and the city entered into a new basic labor agreement for 2026 through 2028, which was ratified by City Council by Resolution 15 of 2026. The city is vested with the authority to ratify the adoption agreement amendment by ordinance or by resolution. The adoption agreement amendment is attached to this resolution as Exhibit A. The amendment elects the plan options that the city has agreed to provide to its non-uniformed municipal employees through the collective bargaining process with AFSCME. The amendment does not change the benefits that will be received by beneficiaries of the plan, but solely extends the Rule of 80 until December 31st of 2028. Just to note again that this is effective January 1st, 2026. I don't have any questions for you, but I'm going to open the floor to my colleagues who may have some questions for you. I'd like to begin with Councilwoman Davis. Do you have any questions related to Resolution 34?
Thank you, President Hill. No, I don't have any questions. Good evening, Mr. Magna.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Rodriguez, any questions?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Megna, for joining us this evening. So that means a newborn, by the time they're 40, they can retire right now. I'm just joking. Pretty straightforward, no questions for me, but thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rawls, any questions?
Good evening, Mr. Magna. I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Vice President Jones, any questions?
No questions. I think they were answered in our session. So, no questions.
Thank you. Councilwoman Green, any questions?
Thank you very much. I don't have any questions.
Okay. Councilman Lawson, any questions?
Thank you, President Hill. I'm going to make it easy. No questions.
Okay, thank you. With no further discussion, I move to add Resolution 34 of 2026 to our next legislative session agenda for a formal vote. This concludes the business of the Administration Committee. Next, we have Public Works. I will defer to our Public Works Committee Chairman, Councilman Rodriguez, to lead discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Humphries, would you mind reading Resolution 24 of 2026 into the record, please?
Resolution 24 of 2026, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Harrisburg reestablishing Hotspot Saturdays, a community beautification and public safety initiative designed to encourage city residents and community partners to participate in 5 community cleanup events throughout the summer of 2026.
Thank you for that. And I'll be leading discussion. It's just something, Hotspot Saturdays is a program that I know council as a whole, but many of us are really passionate about the cleanliness of our community, the give back, just fighting blight. But what better way of making cleanups possible without the city having to foot the bill? So through our partnership with LaShwama, CEO, Public Works, Love the Hill, Friends of Midtown, the YMCA, Capital Region Water, and Dauphin County Recycling. I'm really excited to announce this year's initiative. So we'll start the year off May 16th in collaboration with Wild Heart Ministries with the Allison Hill cleanup. Then following June 27th, in collaboration with Dauphin County Recycling and CEO, we'll partake in the South Allison Hill cleanup. Following after that, July 25th, in partnership with CRW, will take place in the Shy-Poke cleanup. Followed after that, August 29th, in collaboration with Friends of Midtown, will be our Midtown cleanup. And then finally, September 19th, with the YMCA Camp Curtin, will be our Uptown cleanup. Really excited for this year because it's one thing for us to kind of take the lead and spearhead it, but I wanted to really empower the groups in their respected areas of the city and say, hey, are you guys willing to, kind of take the charge and think about it moving forward and the legacy leaving behind? Because one day I will no longer sit in Public Works, and hopefully the new chair would like to take those reins and continue the great work. Also proud we ended off last season over 200 tons of illegal waste removed throughout the city. So hopefully to the tail end around September, October, when we get the tallies, hopefully we'll be in about 250 tons, moving towards 300 tons of illegal waste removed. I'd like to invite all my colleagues here on council to our press release May 11th, right here in the foyer about 11 a.m. In collaboration with all aforementioned, La Shawarma, Dauphin County, CEO, Friends of Midtown, Love the Hill, YMCA, and of course, Capital Region Water. And of course, anyone watching, anyone in the room, and of course my colleagues would love to see everyone out there, sleeves rolled up, ready to go, looking to partake in all these cleanups throughout the summer. Just a great way to give back. We're usually joined by many other elected officials, students, local business owners, just anyone that wants to partake. But if anyone would like to join me about a week before we go to the respective areas in the community, just kind of be hitting doors, trying to incite different residents to come out and local business owners in those areas. So once again, May 16th, June 27th, July 25th, August 29th, and September 19th will be the cleanup dates. All cleanup dates will be from 10 to 12, and all the supplies and utensils that we need as far as grabbers, bags, wheelbarrows, brooms, you name it, everything we need to clean up safely will be provided. So we're looking for anyone that wants to partake and fight blight together with City Council. So looking for anyone to join. And with that said, I didn't want to prolong it. Open it up if anyone has questions, starting on my far right with Councilman Lawson.
All right, thanks, Chair Rodriguez. And I don't have any questions per se, except I was in a meeting earlier discussing revitalizing the city and trying to get things going. And someone made a statement that in other cities, the way that they got buy-in is by putting out an invitation to the residents to just clean up some. So that just says that when we put our own hands into it, we can buy into it a little bit more. So this Hotspot Saturday initiative is something that's great for not just keeping our city beautiful, but keeping our residents directly involved in our city. So thank you for leading this initiative, and it's definitely appreciated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that. Councilwoman Green.
Thank you very much. I don't have any questions. Just thank you again for spearheading this and continuing these efforts. This is several years in a row. You see the excitement from the residents as well as employees from the city who are excited to be out there just working hand in hand with the residents. So expect to see me out there, and I appreciate you doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, a great point. Consistency, I think, goes a long way. Vice President Jones?
No questions.
Madam President?
Thank you. I don't have any questions. Thank you for your leadership on this effort, and I look forward to us crashing the new goal, like smashing it out the park. Thank you.
Councilwoman Rawls, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez. I don't have any questions, just same sentiments. Just so thank you for spearheading this. This has definitely been a passion of yours since you have been on council. One of your big goals was to always help beautify the city and keep it clean, and I think you put words to action with starting and consistently keeping up with Hotspot Saturday. So just thank you, and I hope to get to one. I know I haven't. I'll put my own self out there, so I do want to get to one and help. So thank you for continuing this.
Absolutely. And Councilwoman Davis?
Thank you, Chair Rodriguez, and thank you for all the work that you're doing in our community to beautify it. Thank you for your service.
Absolutely, and I just wanted to leave off, there is a flyer made in both English and Spanish. Once this gets through committee, we will make this document public for the public, and this will have all the logistics as far as meetup locations and all the respective communities, times, and even where the containers will be dropped in our area. So I really like to thank council, my colleagues on council, for their longtime support, and all of the partners that jumped in this year and just wanted to give it a heave-ho. It's one thing to just kind of get 9 to 10 people together on a dream, but to get other businesses, and now we're looking towards, the couple dozen. So to get everyone in on the same time and manner for the same reasons is huge. So thank you all, and I look forward to it. And that's all, and I'd like to move to add that to our next legislative session. Thank you, Mr. Humphreys. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Next, we have the Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment Committee. I will defer to our Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment Committee Chairman, Councilwoman Rawls, to lead discussion.
Thank you, President Hill. Oh, sorry, this mic is so. Okay. Can you please read Resolution 31 of 2026 and Mr. Humphreys?
Resolution 31 of 2026, a resolution authorizing the City of Harrisburg to negotiate and enter into a lease agreement with the Harrisburg School District for a certain tract of land with the parcel ID of 09-063-005, commonly known as the Vernon Street Park.
I'm sorry.
Said tract of land being improved with the playground, pavilion, and recreation area in order to allow the city to make certain improvements and continue the operation thereof.
Thank you. Jumped the gun, my bad. Who is here to speak on this resolution from the administration?
Sasha Ross, Deputy Director.
Thank you. Yes, state your name and what you
Kevin
do.
Sanders, Parks and Rec Manager.
Thank you very much. Okay, go ahead, take it away. The floor is yours.
I think it's kind of simple. We're applying for a grant, but at 15th and Vernon, we need the lease agreement to be renewed. The current agreement has run out, and we need to renew this for another 25 years. This agreement was similar to the Jackson Lake swimming pool, so they were kind of attached together.
Okay. I don't think anybody even knew that the school district owned Vernon Street Park. That was news to me. I knew about Jackson Lick, but not Vernon Street Park, so that was, learn something new every day. I don't have any questions. I do understand you're renewing it to renovate and update the park. I went to the community meeting for it. I think they have a great idea for such a, and it's not really a small space, but it's a space with a lot of open land where it needs to, like, every space, every niche needs to have something. And I feel like the design that they had, I think it was Kiefer, I believe the company's name was.
Floral Teeter.
Thank you. They had a great idea because they've worked with so many smaller area playgrounds that just have a unique space to it. So I don't have any questions. A lot of mine were answered at that meeting and speaking with you all. So I will start to my far right. Councilman Lawson, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Chair Ross. I also was at that community meeting, and I saw the designs. They look great. The only I didn't realize that Vernon and Jackson Link are they linked together in the same lease, or are these separate leases that are just
the leases were very similar, but they were in the same timeline.
same timeline? Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, that was the only question. I was just somewhat confused there if we had to approve both based on them being together in one lease, but that's okay. That's really everything that I had. I just want to see that park move forward, so thank you for bringing this to us.
Do you have any questions, Councilwoman Green?
No, I don't have any questions. It seems pretty simple.
Vice President, sorry.
Jacobs.
Yeah.
No, I don't have any questions. I will say, though, I'm glad that, I think this park I want to say the last time, maybe under Linda Thompson, Mayor Thompson, when it was actually touched. But I think it's time to upgrade, and I hope that surrounding area and those streets will be fixed up.
John Watson told me to tell you that it's on the list.
All right, that's all I have. Thanks.
You're welcome, Vice President Jones. I do know your name. President Hill.
Thank you. I just had a question about the community meeting. How was attendance and what feedback did you receive from residents?
The first meeting, we had marginal attendance. The second meeting, not so much. But we did have surveys filled out in English and Spanish, which was sort of a little bit better than obviously what the attendance was. But we also had Tri-County has been helping us out. So they were doing boots to ground as well. So we got some feedback that way too.
Great, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Can you go over one more time? How was the attendance at the meeting? I know the second
first
one.
meeting was marginal. The second meeting, we didn't really get a whole lot of attendees, but we did utilize the surveys, and they were in English and Spanish, and we had them out for about 3.5 weeks. We've got about 51 or 52 responses, which is actually really good.
Thank you very much. Councilman Rodriguez.
No questions for me. Thank you.
It's okay. It's the testing week. I'm sorry. It's always, I'm telling you. Councilwoman Davis.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rawls, and thank you for being here and the work that you're doing for the city and for the children and for the parks. But my sentiments are with Council Vice President Jones
I always started.
about that alley there and the safety, that there's something there to prevent the kids from running out. That's my only concern, though. And you mentioned John Watson's going to make sure that all that's secured, correct?
That is paved.
I'm sorry?
That is paved. The streets are paved.
Okay. No, I just meant like a boundary for the park. What's there?
Yeah, that will be in a project. That won't be John Watson.
Okay, but it will be done.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's it for me.
All right. Well, that's it for Resolution 31 of 2026, and I will recommend that this is placed on the next legislative agenda. Thank you. You're welcome. Mr. Humphreys, can you please read Resolution 32 of 2026 in?
Resolution 32 of 2026, a resolution ratifying the submission of a grant application to the National Environmental Health Association in the amount of $16,500 for the purpose of attending training opportunities and initiating a risk factor study to determine trends in the occurrence of foodborne illness in certain facilities within the city of Harrisburg. Apologies.
Thank you, Mr. Humphreys. Who is here to speak on Resolution 32 of 2026 from the administration?
Good evening, Council. My name is Nelma Wright. I'm the health officer for the city of Harrisburg. I'm here to speak on the resolution. Resolution 32-2026 reflects an ongoing grant application and award program that the health office has been participating in and getting the benefits of since 2020. This year, the focus of the grant, the grant is basically administered and paid through and provided to municipalities to help them pursue the national retail standards of food safety here in the United States. The partnership between the National Environmental Health Association and the FDA makes these funds available to municipalities throughout the country. The application this year was put in The request was for $18,500, which we received last year. This year, there was a slight reduction. Since the changes in the administration, there have been consistently some reductions in the awards across the country. So fortunately for us, I've been able to kind of stabilize things, and I've continued to get the funding every single year. So I'm very thankful to NEHA and their partners for their confidence and their consideration to continue to fund our projects. My theme this year for the funding is tech. And basically, that's an acronym for trending and training, education, compliance, and health. So one of the major components of the grant award this year will be to begin the process of something called a risk factor study. So when we go out and do inspections of retail facilities here in the municipality, we have a scoring system, a rating system that kind of monitors the most prevalent violations, if you will, or non-compliant issues that may come up during inspections. So part of the risk factor study, it is I think it's an 8-part kind of approach with different segments and progressive things that you acquire to get the actual compliance or the actual award of the factor 9. It's called number 9, which is the completion. But basically, the beginning is to assess, and the dollars awarded will be to assess, to look at some of the prior inspections, develop a strategy as far as how to stratify the results, to identify the most prevalent areas of concern, and to come up with ways of addressing and educating the retail facilities on how to avoid these most common occurrences within their facilities. So that comes in with education. So the education, a part of that would be to provide materials, in-person consultation materials, online information, and general training for the staff as well, to be able to take the retail standards and implement them within the retail establishments here in the city, to work with the owners and operators, to work with the staff, and also support staff that would be running some of the food establishments, to work with new and emerging food establishment types, such as food trucks and food stands and all kinds of things that are coming up, as we get more into innovative ways of providing food to the community. The third aspect of tech is C for compliance. So once the areas of concern are identified, we try to encourage compliance with the organizations, with the food establishments who may be struggling, be it language barrier, be it financial. We try to identify exactly why the occurrence is continuous, if that is the case, and to come up with an area and a strategy as far as how to get that establishment on board and back on track so that they wouldn't have, non-compliant reports just consistently being online about their establishment. That not only helps us as far as getting our numbers together as far as how we're being effective in education, but also helps the owners and operators to be more successful, because no one likes to look at the Food Safe website and see that their organization or their establishment is being dinged continuously for some of the same infractions. The last part of tech is health. We've had a lot of conversation here tonight about the community and the growth that is expected and wanted here in the city of Harrisburg. So looking at food safety is a big thing across the board. So not only are we looking at the professional aspects of food safety, those folks who are professionally preparing our food, but also looking at our community. When you're looking at things like, fair housing and access and these kinds of things, you have to have a healthy community, and you have to have a community that's really connected with resources and opportunities to improve their health. And that's by, healthy food, healthy homes, all these things tied together to make these conversations about housing, about all, job placement, and all these other things correlate and coincide with each other so that our residents will have an opportunity to grow, succeed, and be productive citizens here in Harrisburg and make Harrisburg the place that we'd like it to be. So with all that being said, we want to go ahead and accept these funds. I will continually apply for the funds as long as they are available. And we've had a great relationship with Neha, who is the actual administrator of the FDA funds, and I've been very pleased with their work, and they've been pleased with our work, so we would like to continue that partnership and do the best we can for the city of Harrisburg. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wright. Unless I missed it in here, in the resolution, how much funds did we get this year? Because you said it was decreased. I think last year was like 18,000 plus, but what are we receiving this year? I thought it was 16.5, but I wanted,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
16,500.
Okay, thank you, sorry. I felt like I saw that, but then I couldn't find it again, and I did not want to be incorrect. Okay, thank you very much. Also, I had seen in the resolution, it was saying that you were going to be focusing on 5 fundamental foodborne illness risks. I didn't hear you exactly say them, but you did say what your 9 was and what the training was and the acronym that you gave to us. But also I did see that it said that you were going to be focusing on fundamental foodborne illness risk factors, such as supplying food from unsafe sources, poor personal hygiene, inadequate cooking, improper food holding time or temperatures, and contaminated equipment, also protection from contamination. So, okay, I just wanted to let the public know that as well, if they don't have that in hand, that those are things that you are also going to be focusing on. I think that is great. I always say that our restaurants should have a grade on them. That was something big when I lived in New York. And for me, it pushed establishments to keep a certain standard, because I'm not going to go to an establishment that has a C. I'm barely going to one that has a B. But the ones that pushed that standard, they had that A+, and they got more customers, but they pushed themselves to keep that. And I feel like, yes, people can go online and look and see if these places had any infractions, but many people do not do that before they go out to eat, let's be honest. Some people don't even know the website exists. So I think that I always say we just need a quicker way of people to being able to say, okay, I'm gonna go to that establishment, but also to make those owners say, I need to keep in compliance and make sure I am serving healthy food to the residents. So I will keep pushing and keep saying it to see if we can ever have that. But other than that, I don't have any questions. It was pretty straightforward, and I understood what it was you were looking to do, and thank you for continuing to apply for this money.
Thank you.
I'm going to start to my far left this time. Councilwoman Davis, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Councilwoman Rawls. Good evening. Thank you for being here and for the work that you continue to do here. With the reduction in funds this year, how will that affect the service that you're going to provide with this project? I mean,
I think that the $2,000 reduction is kind of, minimal at this point, given the magnitude of reductions that have happened. Quite frankly, there's been municipalities who have lost money in the hundreds of thousands. So I actually feel, that this continued support, has been there for our municipality, which is great. We'll make do, and I think we've made out better than some others. So I'm kind of grateful for that.
are you able to visit every restaurant in the city with the funding that you get, and every food truck to do your inspections, or how do you decide what facilities you're going to address?
Well, the retail standards actually has a guideline for each full-time employee. There should be, between 280 and 300. 180 and 250, I got the numbers right, establishments. So that's the standard, and most municipalities, unless they have a pretty large, staff, will not make that standard. And that's part of, why they're continuing to try to push towards, people meeting the standard. What the risk factor study will assist with is the ranking. So if you have a restaurant, for example, that has what we call a level 4, there's level 1, 2, 3, 4. So your level 4 would be a restaurant that's doing sous vide and doing very intricate food preparation practices. So maybe a hotel, for example, might have 4 or 5 restaurants doing 3 or 4 different types of menus with different types of applications, raw foods, those kinds of things. Then you would go down to a level 1 where it's just a store with packages of chips and soda, So the stratification of that, and you have everything in between, right? So one of the things we looked at is, the progression of some of the corner stores from being chips and soda to having a full-fledged buffet, and all of a sudden, they've got major equipment, and these kinds of things. And part of, some of the funding will be to try to reevaluate those types of establishments and even look at funding, and look at how they're being charged for their licensing fees. So that's a whole different, aspect of some of the things we'll be doing within the office. But these particular funds are very dedicated to what the earmarks are. So these would be, again, for more like education, and again, the risk factor groundwork to do the risk factor study, because a risk factor study is a really big deal. And you have to start with the metrics and all the things to just get that going. So that's where we are. We're at the point where they're just funding us to start the process. And as we move forward in the process, then more money will come, because it has to be funded to get to the next level. So it's like several levels that to really make a risk factor study hit it. And Councilman Rawls, just for your point, I really appreciate what you're saying about the letter system. I'm a big advocate of the grading system, but apparently here in Pennsylvania, there were some legal challenges to that. So I don't know if that'll ever happen here. Just throw that out there. So.
Thank you.
But I'm a fan too.
Yes, it should happen.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Well, there's always a loophole to something, but thank you. Sorry.
Sorry.
I just have one more question. And this may not fall up underneath your line of work with this project, but when you go into the facilities, are you checking to see if the people who are working with the food products for qualifications like immunizations or whatever qualifications they have to serve food? Or would that fall under the business privilege license that every business has to have? And if it's a restaurant, I'm not sure. I'm just asking if there's other documentation that they have to provide. In other words, how do you know that the people who are working with the food are qualified to work with the food?
And that's an excellent point, because the legislation is that, and actually they revised the legislation right before COVID. So prior to the legislation, you could have with the ServSafe or food safety training, you have a management level or a supervisor or someone who has a higher level of training, and then all the subordinates under that person is supposed to have a different type of certification. Right before COVID, the guidelines changed, and so they also were allowing like a floater, like burger. I'm not gonna say any particular restaurant. I'm just saying that, for example, a fast food restaurant would have a supervisor that would go to 3 different locations, okay? And that person's ServSafe management would be at each location. That is no longer the case. There has to be someone with supervisory level food safety training on site all day, every day. And then subordinates underneath would only need what they call food handlers certification. So, but even with that, one of my coworkers, we were out together and we're looking at the ServSafe, and it has the name, it has the date, it has all that information, but there's no photograph. And I think that is something that, on a higher level, Serve Safe and food safety, organizations need to look at when they give these certificates, because we have caught people sharing the certificates amongst each other. So because of COVID, it kind of fell by the wayside, but now I think it's much more important, as you're saying, that we match the name with the individual.
Thank you very much for your work, very important work as well.
Thank you.
And I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to see you this evening.
Thank you so much.
That's directly my language, working in schools, being able to just serve food as a former chef, Serve Safe, food handling, even if you're behind the bar with your ramp certification, it's important to know the food, and even in that danger zone, once it's getting out that 41-degree mark, you're in danger, right? So if you stroll in the establishment and that food's at a temp, it's a huge fine. And I think that's a big part of mitigating the risk. The work you're doing is hyper important. I just don't think a lot of individuals or entities know that there's a lot of overlying variances that come with serving food, where to place the beef, cooked food as opposed to uncooked food, etc. And even having these storage units by way of refrigerant or non-refrigerant to even keep the food safe. So it's huge. The education with it goes a long way. And I know with my former catering experience, you just see a lot of people dropping pans and like, hey, I'm catering, but is that food staying in temp? How long is that food in temp for? Who's responsible for shifting those pans out? So the work you do is, super, super important. And I know through way of the Commonwealth, the grading system couldn't take place due to, some discrimination laws, but I too agree that there should be some level of, acknowledging how the cleanliness or non-cleanliness of the establishment is. So I really support the work you're doing here in the health department for the city. So, kudos to you and just keep it up. Thank you. Yep.
President Hill.
My certs are current.
Good evening. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Vice President Jones.
No, I don't have any questions. Again, thank you for your service. Like everyone else, this is a very important job, especially with some of these stores that we got around here now, making sure that they got dried sugar on the counter and all that type of stuff. But thank you for your service.
Councilwoman Green.
Thank you very much. I don't have any questions for you. The work that you do is important. Food safety is an integral part of safety in the city of Harrisburg. And as the public safety chair, obviously, that's something that kind of falls under my purview, but just as a resident of Harrisburg, it falls under my purview. And I'd like to say thank you for what you do. But also thank you for going after different funding methods, because it's important for us to have a variety of income coming into the city. And I know that we might not put enough money in your department, in my opinion, so that you can do even more and get the help that you need. So thank you for going after different funding methods so that it's not just like an excuse of, well, we don't have the money to do this. It's like it needs to be done, and I'm finding ways to do it. So thank you for that passion, that ambition. So that's all.
Councilman Lawson.
Thank you, Chair Rawls, and I want to echo that sentiment. It's important that we find the path, even when we don't see a path in front of us, and I love that you're taking an initiative to do that. The only real question I have is really not necessarily right for this, but do we have training available for some of these restaurant owners, some of these small stores that are looking to get open that may not have like the backbone of that non-named restaurant that you put out there, where they don't have like the funds to go to a different training or bring in a trainer? Is there anything that we offer within the city that could give them at least the knowledge of the certifications?
That is the one painful point with these cuts. At one time, I was able to fund Serve Safe classes, and I did classes for the Y and, Salvation Army, different organizations, and we would get people certified. But they took that away across the board. We no longer can sponsor people. So I would like to do that more. I mean, it was really popular because the cost of the course can be prohibitive. I mean, they offer it online, and then we pay the proctor, and pay the fees. and also offering it in Spanish, so it's there, but sometimes it is cost prohibitive. Like you're saying, for someone with quite a few employees or maybe just a hand, maybe it's just them or whatever. So that was one of the pain points, is that I can't pay for anybody anymore. So maybe that's something that maybe we can figure out a way to run these classes, even if we're just paying the proctor, or something to help out to, get more people certified, because I'm sure that is a barrier. I have no doubt, because people were really taking advantage of it when it was free through us, so.
Thank you. I thought I remembered seeing that, so we'll just throw another thing on your plate to figure out how to pay for that. And
you could figure out a way to run some courses, that would be helpful. I have no doubt, because even HAC was, doing some things. They have a program. When they had their food program, the kids would be there. They would get it as being students at HAC, right? So a lot of the people who have been trained over the years were trained at HAC, or, that legacy is, with the newer arrivals, it's hard because now they're paying out of pocket.
thank you. That's everything.
We have one more question. Councilman Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman Rawls. I just wanted to add to Councilmember Lawson's question. The Central Pennsylvania Food Bank does offer the food handler Serve Safe training on a slider scale between $15 and $30, but also anyone interested in the full management system, they can go to servesafe.com, and it ranges between $100 and $165, and that can actually give you that permissions to oversee staff members. So until we can get some inner, they could always look forward to those resources as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
I wanted to add something to that too, because I know the city used to offer it, as you said, and with the cuts. So I know Mr. Magna, he spoke last week, and he said one thing he would like to do is start budgeting talks early. So maybe it's something that could go into our budget yearly to sponsor a certain amount of people. So maybe that's a conversation you can have with him when he starts those talks.
It's a key component of economic development.
I agree. And as we said, everyone can't afford it and be able to take those classes, but the more individuals who are educated in it, the better for our city. So I would love to see how that would work out in our budget. And also thank you, Councilman Rodriguez, for saying about Dauphin County offering those services as well. So maybe we can partner with them. I don't know, but I think these are great options. Food Bank, I'm so sorry. So maybe we can partner with them. Thank you. You're welcome. I would like to add Resolution 32 of 2026 to our next legislative agenda, and that is the end of the business for the Parks, Recreation, and Enrichment Committee. Thank you. I'll pass it back to President Hill.
Thank you. Our final committee business this evening lies with the Public Safety Committee. I will defer to our Public Safety Committee Chairman, Councilwoman Green, to lead discussion.
Thank you very much. Mr. Humphrey, would you read it into the record, please?
Resolution 35 of 2026, a resolution of the Council of the City of Harrisburg ratifying and approving the 2026 through 2028 collective bargaining agreement between the City of Harrisburg and the Fraternal Order of Police, Capital City Lodge Number 12.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here tonight. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, giving us a little overview, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Councilwoman. My name is Jack Dean. I met all of you many times. I've been labor counsel for the city of Harrisburg for over 10 years now, unbelievably. It's always a pleasure to be here before you, because that means that after negotiations, some longer than others, it means that we have met a tentative agreement with a certain union. In this particular case, the Fraternal Order of Police. The Fraternal Order of Police, we started the negotiations a year ago this month, April of 2025, as their contract expired, December 31st. The stated goal, and by the way, the police, I don't come here until the union ratifies the contract. So the union did ratify their contract, and now we're going to bring it to City Council. Negotiations started a year ago, as I stated. We had multiple meetings over the course of the summer, into the fall, and into early winter. We actually had an Act 111 arbitration scheduled for this month, but fortunately we came to a tentative agreement which obviated the need to go to an arbitration. During the course of the negotiations, we realized, both sides, and they're very collegial. The police were professional, our administration was professional. I always try to think I'm professional in our presentation and our offers. Every offer that went back and forth from the city's perspective was run by the business office. I don't make an offer without making sure that the business office at least gives it a tentative blessing. The stated goals during these negotiations were to attract new officers and to retain our current officers. The city of Harrisburg, that's a challenge, not because of the work at the city of Harrisburg and not because of the quality of officers we have, but rather because of the pay scale of surrounding municipalities. Almost impossible to compete. But we made an effort, and we went back and forth, both the union and the city administration. That was their goal, to retain current and attract new officers. We went back and forth with many offers. Again, the union ratified this one. The final offer that we came up with, and I want to give you a little background on some of the neighboring municipalities, and the one we're competing with most has a base salary for this year for new officers of $118,000. Now, we know we can't get there, but our base salary for 2025 was $60,000. So our first offer, or not first offer, our final tentative agreement came down to what can we do? We know we can never match the surrounding municipalities, but we can make it attractive for our current officers and attract new officers. And that came to a 3-year deal. And the 3-year deal includes raises of 7% a year in 2026, 2027, and 2028. What that will do? First, the raise for 2026, we're already a quarter of the way into the year. Because we had an Act 111 arbitration, we agreed to make it retroactive if it's ratified only for officers who are employed on the date that City Council ratifies the contract. So if someone retired in January, they retired at their old salary, or someone left in January. And this year, so far this year, since January 1st, we have 8 officers who have resigned for other departments and 5 retirements. There's 2 pending retirements in May. So we're down to 103 officers on the force as we sit here. Well, that's as of April 14th. I didn't update that today, and I apologize for that. But nevertheless, what will that'll do to our salary schedule to hopefully make us competitive or try to make us competitive? At the end of this contract, which is December 31st, 2028, our starting salary will be $74,000. A 5-year officer, which is an important officer for the city, and because if they stay 5 years, usually they're staying. That's our experience. That 5-year officer, at the end of this contract, will be making $92,000, compared to $135 in neighboring municipalities. So it's quite a difference, but it is a good significant increase. Again, I did not make this offer without vetting it through the business office. So that's the salary portion of it. There are other small items that we also tentatively agree to. The first one is Article 8, Section 8M5. This is for retired officers. Retired officers who receive our health care. And remember, since 2013, officers don't receive full retirement health care. So this is for officers who are already retired and who are eligible for it. We increased our Medicare reimbursement up to $370 per month. That's been traditionally increased $10 a year for the last 11 or 12 years. Article 25, pension vesting rights. Section 4B6. There are 2 different pension plans. Officers hired after 2013 don't receive the same percentage pension as officers hired prior to 2013. So what we agreed to do, and it was very important for the officers, because right now the majority are new officers, 2013, and they want a consistent pension plan with their older officers. So what we did was said, we'll agree to look at making this the same. And very important that our pension is fully funded. We didn't agree to anything here. We just agreed to continue to negotiate to see if we can get to a point that it can be justified that post-2013 officers will have pension benefits maximizing at 70% at 27 years, which their older fellow officers have. And the final change to this contract was we agreed to continue the $7,500 raise. This is also under Article 25, Section 5B. We agreed to continue the $7,500 raise to officers to their salary on their final day of employment. And this helps them with their pension. The pension is fully funded. So we've been doing this for 11 or 12 years, and it does not impact the fully funded nature of our pension. It's very similar to the Rule of 80, which you guys just approved. It's just a continuation of what we already have. So those are the four major changes. There's a bunch of smaller changes, typographical things which are contained in the red line, changing dates. But those are the substantive changes to this contract. I'm prepared to answer any questions to the best of my ability.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your thorough overview. I'm going to open it up to questions, and then I'll come back to mine. So I'm going to start to my immediate right here with Councilman Lawson. Any questions?
Thank you very much. I received a message from, I believe, a retired officer, and he was, I guess the question was, is there a way to give them the last day type of increase based on the raise? Not asking for back pay, but asking to give them the what the raise would have been for their pension purposes. And I don't know if that opens up renegotiation or what that does, but I just wanted to get that question out there to see what that would do.
I would have to take a look at that, but my first quick answer would be you'd have to reopen negotiations. So this is what was tentatively agreed to and approved by the entire police department. Mm-hmm. That officer or that person, whoever that may be, on the date of his retirement, assuming it was after January 1st and prior to April 21st,
right,
did get the $7,500 bump.
Correct. That's my assumption based on what you've said.
But as far as giving him the retroactive for pension purposes, that would open up, we'd have to go back to the table on that.
Okay, thank you. That answers enough for me, but that's
okay.
That's
thank you.
Thank you.
You got me. I was going to think about that one for a while.
Vice President Jones.
Yes, thank you. Same sentiments, and I think it was about 4 officers that was included in it. I think we all received the same email separately, and that was a concern of theirs. And I did see they just retired January of 26, so it kind of, knocked them out of the position. So, yeah. Other than that, looking at this, I'm always going to have questions when it comes to finances. However, I know. However, I know that this is necessary, and I really hope that this does help us with recruiting and retention. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
President Hill.
Thank you. God bless you. I don't have any questions. Just wanted to clarify that the 4 officers mentioned retired between January 12th of 2026 and February 15th of 2026, just for reference. But I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Rawls.
Thank you so much. I don't have any questions. I had the same concerns from the letter, and they also stated that Captain did receive funds or a 4% raise, and they retired after January 2nd. So I just think there are some concerns, and I'm not sure, but I think we sit here and when we get information like this, it's our duty to ask the questions and see what's happening, especially since in the letter they also say they were promised it by HR. So I just think some things need to be looked into, because I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I think their concerns are valid.
Thank you.
No, thank you for all the work you're doing. It cannot be easy.
No, well, it's,
you were a saint for this, so
well, it's,
thank you.
It's actually with the police, it's very rewarding because we know what
Good.
they do. And
Yes.
if we could keep them here in Harrisburg, you know, while I live an hour north of here, every so often when I turn Channel 16 on, I see Commissioner Carter, and I think about what they're doing down here and the great work they do.
Yes, thank you very much. I would agree. They're risking their lives consistently. So, pay is definitely important. But I thank you for the work you've done on this. And I don't know how to address these concerns that they raised, because I know you probably would have to open it back up.
Right. I would be curious, and I'll have to check here, is the 4% issue, because I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, it was one of the paragraphs in here, and I don't want to read anything incorrectly, but yeah, it's definitely stated in here. And then there's 4 officers. So I don't know what to do next, or I guess share it with you and see, but it was definitely a concern. I mean, I guess I could read the paragraph if I'm allowed, but I don't know.
I think it would be better if you forwarded it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I will note, it's not just the union contract. They have a separate pension board, and each of those retirements are calculated and approved in their meeting on every month. So there'd be a number of things we'd have to look at, including, it's very hard to alter a pension plan,
Okay.
right? I mean, that's reality, but, we can be looked at, and we can see what's there.
Okay, I'll keep it up and let me know where to forward it to after.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Thank you. No worries. Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chair Green. Thank you for joining us this evening. Always a pleasure speaking with you. I know I speak for council when I just say thank you for over a year of hammering away and getting here to this collective bargaining agreement. It's one step closer to more recruitment, better retention, for our officers. Pie in the sky, we get the compliment we need and deserve, where we can have, adequate patrolmen out on the street and can really meet those needs of our residents. So, for anyone that's young watching, or, a mom or dad watching and has someone about to graduate out of high school, it's an amazing career. I encourage you to take the test and come speak to the commissioner. And, we just need more. Although we welcome anyone that want to help police, our city, it's always just a relief and a great feeling when we see some of our own from Harrisburg coming up through the ranks, becoming that captain one day or that future commissioner, because it's a different understanding of the area they're policing, right? If you grew up with Miss Jackson and understand little Ronnie, you may arrive on the scene and have a bit more compassion for the situation arising. So, kudos, and hopefully this does play a big role with the retention of our officers. So, thank you.
Also reiterate that it wasn't really hammering away, it was inching away.
Inching away.
And again, I want to reiterate that it was very cordial with common goals.
Awesome.
So I compliment the police negotiating team for that.
Well, Al Pacino said it best on any given Sunday: the inches we need are all over this field, and we claw, right? So thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Nothing further.
Thank you very much. And Councilwoman Davis.
Thank you, Councilwoman Green. Thank you for being here. Can you hear me?
I can,
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you've done with negotiating the contracts for the police and their families. I did read something about health care for the family or the spouse. Was there something in the, okay, and maybe it was something,
We did not change any healthcare provisions.
okay. Well, again, thank you very much for the
You're
work
welcome.
that you're
It's
doing.
my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't really have any questions for you. Thank you for the work that you've done. Thank you for the work you continue to do, because I feel like it's a never-ending process, right?
Up this summer, we'll start.
Right, which is going to be another long one, as we all know. So thank you for your work. Thank you for continuously being there for the city and looking out for the residents in the city, but also for our employees as well, because that's a hard balancing act to accomplish. I think that this isn't the first step in this is only the first step to accomplish this goal, right? To recruit and retain. And so I think the increases in the salary over the years, I think that definitely will help with it. But I think as a city, we have to look at what's next. Like, this can't be it, or else we'll find ourselves in the exact same situation that we've continued to be in of, bleeding officers and not figuring out how we can stop it. So thank you for helping us to get past this hurdle and past this step. And I think as a city, as a council, as administration, we have to look at what we can do to make for sure we're supporting our officers and all of our employees of the city of Harrisburg to the best of our ability so that they continue to stay with us and hopefully retire with us. In regards to the letter that we did receive, I think it's important for us to look at that because as we talk about people wanting to stay with the city and retire with the city, we have to make sure that we're putting a good faith effort for those who have recently retired as well. So I think that's something to look at to see what we can do, if there is something we can do, but also understanding that that we have to look at the entire picture as well. So thank you for what you do. Are there any other questions or comments? If not, thank you again, and I would ask that this is placed on our next legislative agenda.
Thank you. We will move forward with our meeting agenda. Next, we have public comment. If you're interested in offering any public comments, please state your name and your address for the meeting record. If you don't feel comfortable sharing your address, please share the vicinity in which you live within the city. You will have 4 minutes to share your comments. Mr. Humphrey has added a timer to the screen for your reference. I'll begin to my right. Is there anyone that would like to offer public comment?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I'm Brian Muhammad, live on Luce Street. Councilman Rodriguez already updated me on speed bumps that I was asked about the last couple of weeks. But now, we're getting ready to go into the concert series up the park. I want to know about how they're going to set up as far as the tents. Because if they have the tents in front of the band shell, if you're not down in there, you won't be able to see. But now when we used to do the African festivals, they was allowed to have the tents on the road and on the back part of it. And that way, because since they took the benches out, everyone takes their tents down there. So then you can't see unless you go down in there. And then when you go down in there, it's a cluster down there because they're down there rocking and rolling. So I'd just like to know if we're going to do something different as far as letting the folks with the tents not down in front. So, thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to my right that would like to offer public comment?
Good evening, Council. My name is Patricia Robinson, and I'm the founder. I don't live in the city of Harrisburg, but I do have a business, a nonprofit, Evolve Youth Trades Academy. So I just wanted to make the public aware that we are gracious enough to be able to partner with Harrisburg High again for 2026 and 27 school year to allow 15 students to enroll into our program to get their pre-apprenticeship. But more importantly, also for the summer, we will be partner again with Harrisburg High to allow 25 students to be in our summer program. And this is the ages between 12 and 18. So I employ parents to enroll their students in the program. So it's a 4-week program, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, from 9 to 3 p.m. For those 4 weeks. It starts July 7th through August 7th. So we want to make sure that we get as many students from the Harrisburg School District involved in the Youth Trades program over the summer. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to my right that would like to offer public comment? Okay, seeing and hearing no one. Anyone in the middle section?
Good evening, Council. Kia Fowler, North 5th Street. I will try really hard to stick with the timer for the 4 minutes. Carrie Fowler asked me to speak as well on her behalf, so I'm going to try and chop and change both of our statements. Number one, speaking about Ms. Mays and Ms. Chapman, I was very impressed with Ms. Mays' resume and experience background. I think she'd be highly qualified. Ms. Chapman, I was very impressed with her work with NACA. I actually went to work with NACA, tried to get approved with them for a home loan before I purchased my home in January. I ran out of time, my house came up for sale, and I had to go with a conventional loan. But the work they do is honestly incredible, and I think her background with that organization would prove highly beneficial to the Redevelopment Authority when looking at affordable housing for residents. Number two, several weeks ago, you are all aware that I was involved in an altercation with Mayor Williams and two other city employee members. I've sent more than one follow-up email trying to figure out how to file a complaint against those specific 2 city employee members, as there's no governing body for the mayor. I have yet to hear back from any organization regarding how to file a complaint or even an acknowledgement of the complaint. I know Carrie Fowler had another altercation with another city employee who she told me when I saw her last Friday that she also has not heard of. This is disgraceful. If there are legitimate complaints, it needs to be followed up on. There needs to be an acknowledgement of when complaints happen. There needs to be a clear resolution process for the investigation of these complaints. And given the current allegations against Mr. Grover, it is seriously concerning to me that our HR department is not up to scratch for enforcing the rules that city employees are meant to follow. I'm going to try and cut it short to go to Carrie's statement. She's a much more passionate orator than me, so I will not do her justice, but I might have to chop and change some of her statement. Carrie stated, "My name is Carrie Fowler, and I reside in Midtown Harrisburg. Enough is enough. The city is tired of paying the price for your failure to act. The recent lawsuit filed by a former city attorney lays out serious allegations, whistleblower retaliation tied to concerns about how harassment and misconduct were handled inside our own government. And yes, these are allegations, and yes, everyone deserves their day in court. But let's stop pretending this came out of nowhere. This is a pattern. Neil Grover has been problematic for years. And every time something happens, this council and this administration look the other way, delay, deflect, and then quietly move on while the damage piles up. And who pays for this damage? We do. The taxpayers of Harrisburg do. We pay for the lawsuits. We pay for the legal defense. We pay for the settlements that come from mismanagement and bad decisions. And let's be real, it's bad enough that taxpayers have already been on the hook for lawsuits involving this administration, but now we're looking at yet another costly legal battle tied to the same failures in leadership. How many times are we expected to foot the bill for this? How much money has this already cost us? How much more are you willing to gamble with? Because that's what this is at this point, a gamble with our money and our city's future. And let me speak plainly, as a woman in this city, I am furious. When someone comes forward with concerns about harassment or misconduct, the bare minimum expectation is that it's taken seriously and handled with integrity. Instead, what are we seeing? Again, is a system that appears to punish the person who speaks up. That sends a chilling message to every woman, every worker, every city employee. Stay quiet or else. That is not leadership. That is a failure of responsibility. And the longer you allow this to continue, the more you own it. So let's stop kicking the can down the road. Let's stop waiting for the next headline, the next lawsuit, the next payout. Because if it's coming, if you do nothing, it's coming. I'm demanding immediate action. Neil Grover must be removed from his position now. Not after an internal review, not after months of delay, now. Because every day he remains is another day this council is choosing to risk more lawsuits, more financial damage, and more harm to the people you are supposed to serve. You were elected to lead, not to protect insiders, not to ignore patterns, and not to wait until the situation explodes. The people of Harrisburg are watching, and we are done paying for your inaction. Do your job. Thank you from both Carrie and I.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle section that would like to offer public comment?
Good evening, Council. My name is Tyron Mike. I am the one who sent the email yesterday in reference to the police contract. Sort of changed after I heard outside counsel a little bit, but I'm going to stick to my agenda and I'll answer any questions, and I would be more than happy to stay after to answer any other questions. Just to introduce myself, my name is Tyron Mike. I am married, have 4 kids, 2 of them adopted that parents were drug addicts. 27 years of service for the City of Harrisburg Bureau of Police. I chose Harrisburg City over Lancaster City because of the fact that, 1, I was born and raised across the river. It was close to me. My parents lived in the city back in the 60s. I wanted to serve this community. During my time with the city, I've been shot at twice. I've had a canine shot in the line of duty back in 2013. I worked up to sometimes 20 hours a day just trying to protect the city and the citizens of Harrisburg. I was on call for 20 years because I was a canine guy. I've been a dog guy since 2004, so I was on call, could get calls at any time of the night. I came into work hours, 2 hours before shift, after shift, never put in for compensation. I volunteered for canine demos, community events. There was times, never put in for compensation. Basically, for the last 12 years, I've been running the canine unit, so I've been a supervisor. I've also been a trainer. I've also been, for the last 8 years, in charge of the street crimes unit. Over the last 8 years, the small unit that we have collected over 700 guns off the city streets. 700 guns. And it was a matter of 3 or 4 of us. That's it. We've taken a large amount of narcotics off the street. You know what that does to our city. I was involved in taking people into custody for wanted for murders, rapes, robberies, and anything in between. I missed out. I missed out on my kids growing up for their school functions, their sports, because of my work. I worked that shift that I couldn't attend their items there. I continued to work back in 2018 when my wife came down with breast cancer. I didn't take off lengthy amounts of times. I took little days here to take care of her when she needed it, but no extension of time. Also didn't do that when my son contracted cancer in 2023. So, which he just took his last treatment in the last week. He is now free and clear. You asked me why, and I thought about this. Why would I tell you all this? The reason why I'm telling you this is not to brag. It's not even to show how special I am, because I'm not a special person at all. I'm a human being that loved my city and loved working for the city. But I did do it because I'm dedicated, and I wanted to show how much dedication I put to this city. Unfortunately, the city didn't show the same dedication when it came to this contract. Nor did it the rest of my officers, that some of them couldn't be here because their other jobs made them, they were late. So my thing is with this whole thing is, in order to keep these young officers, you're gonna have to take care of the retirees. If they don't see that, they're not gonna do it. I can already tell you the actuary was done. I'm being told this. This is all I can tell you. Actuary was done. The union said they could support it. They're at 110%. I have personally talked through text to the mayor. The commissioner has been talked to. Everybody, union, mayor, commissioner down the line has said that they approve this and they would do this for us. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Do you mind staying after the meeting?
Absolutely.
To discuss further? Thank you. Is there anyone else in the middle section that would like to offer public comment? Okay, seeing and hearing no one. Anyone to my left?
Good evening, Council. My name is Maximus Decimus Marius, leader of the Army of the North. I'm sorry, I've been practicing that all week. I'm a Spartan fan, okay? Sparta. Couple of good things. You guys are putting people in place. I saw that Mr. Knight has a deputy. That is awesome. We have an administrative director. That is awesome. I was listening to these ladies. They're good. Good catch. I only have one question with the negotiation with the cops, the union. Is there any diversity training? I mean, is the union putting anything in there, cultural interaction? And if they are they just virtual, or are they actual practical interaction and practical training? So those are the only questions I have. And I just want to commend you for the work that you're doing. What I've seen is that you are willing to work with the mayor, putting these individuals in place. Jeffrey Knight has a deputy. Just filling the position in the administration, show that council is not at war with the mayor. This is great. The people are looking. We are applauding. And thank you.
Can you please state your name and your address for the meeting record? Thank you. Okay. Maximus.
My name is Libby Prophet, Chestnuts between 20th and 21st in Harrisburg.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to my left that would like to offer public comment? Seeing and hearing no one, the time is 7:15 p.m. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We stand adjourned.